Good afternoon and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin, Master Certified Life Coach and Weight Loss Coach.
I'm Sandra Priestley. I'm a leadership coach for female entrepreneurs and a feng shui practitioner. And welcome to the Happy Half Hour. On my side of the continent, I am drinking in my martini glass, but I am drinking Kahlua with a little bit of cream and some ice.
Yum.
This is like my favorite. It is my favorite. Normally I have like just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of milk, but today was special. So I had cream. So tell me what you're drinking and what you want to talk about today.
Well, today I am drinking Prosecco and Ruby Red. No, I'm sorry, not Ruby Red. Deep Eddy Cranberry Vodka.
Okay, that is the coolest glass ever.
Isn't that
I love it.
I love this glass.
It really is. It really is. It would not fit in my cupboards, but it's super
very
cool.
Slender and little bitty, and
yeah, it's so beautiful. So what do you want to talk about?
Girl, I want to talk about the vortex. I keep getting questions like, y'all talk about this vortex. What are you talking about? And I feel like we should probably say, this is something that came from Abraham Hicks, like Esther and Jerry Hicks. We did not invent the vortex. We learned about it.
Although we could have. I feel like we could have. We're pretty kick-ass.
That's true.
But we can't claim it. We can't claim it today.
But when they explain the vortex, it made such sense to me. And they were talking about something that I knew to be true. I mean,
I love it.
There was no friction. Is that the right word I'm looking for?
Resistance.
When I heard about it, and it was like, of course that's true. That I've seen it in times of my life, but the vortex is where everything is possible, where everything that we've ever wanted, everything that we've ever asked for is waiting for us. And we don't see it because we have resistance, or we don't believe we deserve it, or so we don't really believe that it's there. But it's not any different than when I was putting together the board for January of what we say yes to.
Yeah.
And I saw all the letters and I was like, I can't find a big Y. Like, where's the capital Y that's big? No. And I had all these letters out and I asked for what I needed and poof, it was there. And so that's how I think of the vortex in a very simplified form.
I so love it. I mean, because it did just come to you because you were receptive to it. But if you think in terms of the vortex being like all the letters that you needed were there.
They were all there. I mean, I just couldn't.
They were there. You just couldn't see them. So instead you trusted and you asked.
I asked.
And then poof. You know what the vortex is to me? And I mean, I am not like, I haven't really listened to Abraham much. I don't know why. I mean, because what I have listened to has been like mind blowing. My gosh, I love it. And it's like coming home to something that you always knew.
Yes.
It's like they explain things in ways that it's like, oh, and of course. Like, and of course that makes sense. But why is it so mind blowing when it comes out of their mouth? Like, it's just so entertaining. I think that it makes it really connects. But the vortex for me is like, because when we talk about this podcast and it's like we feel like we're in the vortex, right? It's like we feel like we're in this vortex where, to me, it's like opening up to whatever's possible, opening up to hearing our intuition. And like, it feels to me like conversations are effortless. The conversations we have are divinely led. The inspiration that we get is just divine. And when all of a sudden it comes through and we just trust that whatever it is that comes out of our mouth is what our listeners need to hear or want to hear or will change their life, like, it is just powerful shit.
Yeah.
There's a different feeling to it when you just open yourself up to what's possible.
But you nailed it with the feeling, because like for me, I can feel it
Mm-hmm.
when I am there. And it's when we're talking and when we're having these moments of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
It can be at work, talking to a patient, online, talking to a client, just when you have that moment where you feel things just open up, that
Totally.
this is the right way. And I was thinking about this, if I can rewind, 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pregnant, and I was alone. I had, didn't have much family around, didn't have a lot of support. I had Paul, and he was my best friend, but I remember in the moment feeling like, you've got this baby on the way. You have got to do something to give him the life that he deserves. And I didn't know what to do. And I don't know where this came from in me, but I started walking around my apartment and looking at little things that I had, and being grateful. And at that time I had nothing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had a hand-me-down couch. I had a mattress and box spring on the floor.
Yeah.
I did have a TV, but I remember just this immense gratitude, walking around just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, and feeling thankful. And I remember driving to my mother's house for something and stopping at Sonic to get a soda. And I know I was pregnant drinking soda. I'm bad, whatever. Just kidding.
Could be worse.
This is true. And a Jeep Cherokee pulls into Sonic and is like on the other side of where I'm parked. And I see all the balloons coming out of the windows, not that they were flying out, but you could see them in the back of the car. And I'm rubbing my belly and I'm talking to Logan, and I'm like, I'm going to have a party like that for you one day. Like, we're going to do that one day, I promise. And I released it. I let it go. I didn't think about it until his first birthday. And at this point, Paul and I are married, and I'm pregnant with Lily. And we have his birthday party at his mother's house, and it is filled with people. There were 50 people there easily. And it was not until I was there at that party, looking at how drastically different my life was a year ago.
Wow.
And I remembered that Jeep Grand Cherokee at the Sonic. And I remembered that I told this little baby before I met him that I was going to give him that. And here I was at his first birthday party. And that was my first realization of manifestation. And then
Wow.
the more I learned, and being in the vortex, and the more I learned, the more I realized that me walking around like my little apartment, just being grateful for everything that was there, opened me up to so much more. And that is what I always fall back on, is when you don't know what to do, walk around and be thankful.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
So
That's so the truth. And because what do we do typically when we have a problem, or when we have a challenge that seems insurmountable? The first thing we don't do is drop down to our knees and be grateful for the mattress on the floor, right?
Yeah.
The first thing that we do is start to panic.
And what is going to happen? Worst
yeah, and then we start to tell ourselves all these stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we go down the rabbit hole, we feel the feelings, we've got the trigger, and then we start to tell ourselves the thoughts, and then we feel the feelings, right? Thoughts turn into feelings, actions turn into behaviors, or results rather. But I mean, we have the thought, we feel the feelings. Sometimes that happens all at once. And then all of a sudden we start to ping pong back and forth. We think more thoughts, we feel more feelings, we think more thoughts, we feel more feelings. We take action, it's not good, and we get results we don't want. Then we go back to the feelings and thoughts and ping pong back and forth, and we stay stuck.
Yep. Because we are just regurgitating what is and creating more of what is.
Instead of what's possible.
Yes. And what else could this mean? What else could this mean? We had something that happened this week that I really can't get into because it's not my story to tell, but it involves some of my kids. And there was a panic moment in me where I started going down the what if this and what if this and oh my God, this and oh my, the world is ending. And then I stopped myself and said, what are you thinking? You can't think thoughts like that. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. And then it was like, no, come on. You need to look at this. You need to feel this, and you need to see what you want to come out of this. Don't get stuck here in where it is. Where's it going? And as I started, now it took me a good hour, but I was very proud of myself that I was able to start turning it around in an hour instead of letting it linger for a week.
And we can do that.
Oh, I've done it. I've done it for months, Sandra. Months.
I know. Yeah, it's so true. I was telling the story this week or last week, I think too, about how I really learned how to process the feelings and process through them without creating more thoughts. I think when we start to create the thoughts and we start to tell stories in our minds, we keep the feelings there. Or if we feel it and we've got a thought and we think, okay, I'm just going to ignore this. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to feel about it. I'm just going to pretend it isn't there. It isn't there. It's like shutting the door on a fridge with rotten fruit in the back.
And I think that's where people get confused. Because people think you can't just think sunshine and roses all the time and that's what shows up. And they're right. But you can't think about the crap that's going on right now all the time and expect something different to show up. You need to look at what is going on. You can acknowledge it for sure. We have to.
Yeah.
But then you've got to work through it. I don't like where it's at right now. Where do I want to go? What do I want to create? What is this teaching me or us? Yeah. And what is the best possible outcome that I see?
Totally. My friend, I'm lucky to be surrounded by so many people that have just these zingers, these one-liners that I truly live by. And I found myself saying these things over and over and over again. And so one of the things that I love to do is I have this desire to say something that one thing that someone repeats forever. I have had the luxury of being around. And one of the things that my friend said to me was, I was going through a really tough time about 15 years ago. And my friend said to me, Sandra, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. It is not okay to stay there.
Yeah.
And I thought, holy shit, how many months have I felt this? How many months have I felt this? All of these awful feelings, a long fucking time. So, but then the problem is I would feel the feelings and then I would tell the story and I would make it mean something else. And then I would feel the feelings and then I would feel guilt for feeling the feelings. And then I would feel shame for feeling the feelings. And then I would feel badly because I was staying stuck there and I wasn't being a good mom or a good wife or friend when I'm really in this negative headspace. And so, it just now I have this process where I believe that feeling the feelings is important so that we can work through them instead of just forgetting that they're there. Because if something happens, we can pick that up in a heartbeat right away. Something happens again to trigger it, we're right back where we were. But if we can process through it, we can, gain some strength through it. And so I do this thing where I just literally lay on the couch and feel whatever the feelings are. But when I have a thought about it, I stop the thought.
Mm.
So I just allow myself to feel the feelings. And I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, it was 2020. And I was saying to my husband, you know what, like, I've got some chest pain. And so he's a retired paramedic and he's asking me all these questions. And he says to me, and he's also an RN, and he says to me, I think you should go to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, fuck no. This is never a good sign. My RN paramedic husband never tells anyone to go to the hospital. Like, I could have like my arm is hanging on just by skin, like just like one little tiny centimeter of skin is hanging there. And he's like, got some steri strips. We'll just, patch that right up for you. You don't need to go to the hospital. Like, that is seriously almost where he's at. So when he tells me it's time to go to the hospital, I'm thinking, oh, fuck, the end is near. I better rush. Should I call the paramedics? Should I call the ambulance? What do? I don't know. He's like, you got to go to the hospital. You got to get them checked out. They'll probably give you a pink lady. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't even have first aid.
Yeah, what's a pink?
A pink lady is, I don't know what it is, but it's like this little drink, and it's got little pink liquid and a white liquid, and you drink it. And I think it's in case to prevent heart attack. Like if you're having a heart attack, it'll treat it. I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure. And so I go in and I get assessed, and it's not a heart attack. They do a chest x-ray, they do an ECG, they do blood work. And I went in, it was like a Sunday night at 11 o'clock that I went in, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, I am still there. So they did an ECG, they did a chest x-ray, they did blood work, they did a whole bunch of things. And the doctor said, well, your doctor will follow up with you, but the good news is you have nothing that will kill you in 48 hours. Oh, so good. I go home and I'm thinking, well, wait, what happens on hour 49? I can't get in to see my doctor for another 4 days. This is not good. And I get this phone call and I have to go for more tests. I have to go for a urea breath test for possible ulcer. And I have to go for a CT scan on my lungs. And I'm like, whoa, wait, what the fuck is happening? And so it turned out after all of these tests, they start finding all of these things that are wrong with me. And I told my doctor, I didn't come in complaining with a gallbladder. So why are you testing my gallbladder to find out I have polyps on it? I don't want to know that I have a hemangioma of my liver. Thank you very much. Is it a problem? No, lots of people have them. Stop testing it. Anyway, but what they found was pulmonary nodules on my lungs. Mm. And he's like, he phoned me and he said, Sandra, do you smoke? I'm like, no. Do you live with anyone that smokes? No, this can't be good. So he tells me I have these pulmonary nodules and I need to go for additional CT scan with the dye injected into my arm. Pretty sure at nighttime I was radioactive. Like you could have, like a glow bug, or what are they called? Firefly. And they're not worried because I have several of them, as it turns out, and they're not changing. So all is well. But what happened was I started feeling massive fear, like massive fear. And then I watched this show on TV, and there was a mom who had purchased she was dying. She purchased a locket with a picture of herself in it to her kids. And I started thinking, would my 19-year-old football playing son wear a locket with my picture in it? Should I order them? Should I order two? One for my daughter, and I realized like I was creating this scenario that was not true. I was making it mean something that was totally not true.
Yes.
So I just decided I was just going to feel the feelings. I was going to feel the fear. I was going to feel the worry. I was going to feel the angry. Why in the fuck is this happening to me? I live healthy. And I was going to feel all those feelings. And every single time I had a thought that came up that said, but what if it's bad? but what if this? Where's the locket company that I can purchase these lockets from? I would just stop. I would not allow myself to go there. I would only allow positive thoughts. I would only watch positive things. And honestly, I just sat in the feeling. And after about an hour or two, I realized I kind of am bored. I'm bored of feeling this feeling now. I'm done. And I got up. I laid on the couch and felt sorry for myself for hours before that. And then I went, no, you know what? I got to stop telling myself these crazy stories. I need to focus on, well, what do I know right now? What do I know? What I know right now is there's no worry. And my doctor's saying I'm not worried. Why am I creating anything different? So I just felt sorry for myself. And then all of a sudden it was just like, okay, I'm done.
Enough of
I
that.
got up. Enough of that. Enough of this shit. Like, I'm tired but what I noticed was when I started to tell the thought, like when I started to have all these thoughts, that's what kept the feeling stuck there. And it felt like a fucking drug to me. It felt like I was addicted to the feeling. And so I was going to continue to tell myself the thoughts because the feelings were adrenaline.
Yeah.
And it was back and forth. It was so like, it was just this huge aha for me. And that's what I help now my clients through, because like it truly was, it felt like freedom to me.
Well, once you see it and you realize you don't have to tell that same story over and over again and relive it and be in that, because it creates more and more and more of that. In the same way that when you start thinking differently and you start looking for things to be grateful for, you don't have to have much at first. But if you can find something to genuinely feel grateful for, more shows up.
It's true.
And it's true with money. It's true with jobs. It's true with everything.
Yeah. It is so true. Like, it's like everything is possible. It really is. But in the vortex, when we're in the vortex. And it's so funny because this is such a good example of being in the vortex though, right? Because I will guarantee you someone needed to hear the story of my lung issues. I will guarantee you someone will there will be something that we said that it will, one of the people that are listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube right now, something that we said will go, oh, click.
It's or like I knew that. How did I know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is so true. Like,
and
this
when we
is
start
so
looking
true.
back at our lives, any of us, we can see evidence of it all around. And, I look back, when I've gone through, some really tough times in my early 20s, all self-created, but
aren't they all?
Right. But I was looking at my thoughts and where my thoughts were and where my feelings were and what I thought about myself and what I thought I was capable of or worthy of, and I can see looking back the spiral that I created. And I did it with my thoughts. I mean, obviously I followed up with some action, but I could have changed had I known how to properly think.
Yes.
I could have changed a whole lot of things. And we can't go back, but we can do it now. But having the ability to look back and see the patterns that we have created in our lives is eye-opening.
So true. So true. And even if, I was just talking about this today, actually, in one of my training sessions where I was saying, it's acceptance week. So I was talking about how, a lot of times we experience traumas that we hold on to from years and years past. And when they pop up, or if they are still in our conscious mind all the time, a lot of the times I think what happens is we can't really achieve acceptance because our 47-year-old us judges the actions of our 17-year-old us that experienced it.
Right.
And I'm 30, well, now I'm more than this, but 30 30 years have passed, 30 years
Yeah.
of learning. We can't go back and go, oh my gosh, why did I do this? This changed the trajectory of my life in a bad way. If I hadn't done this, and if I had done that, and if I had gone back to school, and like we judge so harshly
Uh-huh.
as though our adult self, our 50-year-old self in that 17-year-old situation is just not possible to ever do that. We should never do that because it just keeps us stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
And the
knew,
fact that we do it for that long, it's like,
right?
let that shit go.
Right. And we don't need to carry it through.
Mm-mm.
We don't need to,
And
but we continue to tell the story.
that's my message to the kids, to anyone really. But like, when you mess up, do what you can to fix it, forgive yourself, figure out where you want to go and get going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go create what you want. Don't get stuck in that moment of, oh, I'm such a fuck up because of this. And like, let it go. Go do something. And
exactly.
And, we talked about us turning 50 and, and I look at this, I should have my crown on right now.
Oh yeah.
Officially 50.
Officially 50. Yeah.
But
it feels so cool.
it really kind of does. But
it does. Yeah.
I'm almost like, Leigh, why didn't you let this stuff go sooner? Because I'm slowly getting all of it out, but you think it's kind of cleared out and then you find another piece and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
But I don't want
or something you think that you worked through comes back when you least expected it.
Like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
But that's my wish, is that somebody can hear that. And I know we hear things when we're ready to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that someone can hear that. Just like, forgive yourself. It's okay.
Yeah. And really, I think a lot of times when I've struggled in the past, I know it's like, I feel like I've made a mistake, but I feel like I also have been seen as making this mistake, like, what must they think of
And
me?
that is
What
who
must
you
they think?
are.
Right.
Yes.
Instead of just
bullshit.
like, yeah, it's not who we are. But, so often we think in terms of like, well, they must still, no one remembers me from when I was 17 years old. If they do, they need to get a fucking life. Like, no one remembers that I don't know, went to a party and got drunk and fell down, but it's like, that's just an example. But like, we carry stuff that we think, oh my gosh, everyone, that was so embarrassing. It was such an embarrassing part of my life.
Talking about it over there.
They're all talking about it. Guess what? No one gives a shit what you did. No one cares what you did last week.
Yeah.
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 Like, really, we all think in terms of first person. We are in our heads in first person.
Mm-hmm.
We really are. How does this affect me?
Yeah.
Like, what did someone do and how did this affect me? So unless I did something to affect the other person, they might be thinking about what I did. But like, quite frankly, we just all think about our own problems and our own ways that we screwed up and the own mistakes and like all of this stuff. Like, they've forgotten long about me.
Right.
But we think in our minds, oh my gosh, she still must be. Does she remember? I know she remembers. Okay, seriously, no, she doesn't care. She got her own problems.
Yes.
Like,
it's 40 years.
It's been, it's been 40 years. Give it up.
Give it up. Let it go.
You were in grade 4. I'll guarantee you no one remembers that 50 that you got on your social test.
No.
I know. I'll tell that story for another day, but.
Oh, okay. Write it down because we will forget. Because, but we're out of time. Can you believe it?
Oh, no, I can't believe it. But, lots of good stuff today. So it was still super, super fun. We could stay on for hours.
I know. Let's just talk about the vortex.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We hope you all have a great week and hope you get and stay in the vortex a little bit this week.
Yeah.
Yes. And we'll see you next Thursday on the Happy Half Hour.
Awesome. Bye.